Janaranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanidhari Jana Balaba Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astuttara Srimad ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Rajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Navadip Mayapur Dham ki Ganga Maya ki Yamuna Maya ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulsi Maharani ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayam Udiraya Nasta Preshu Avadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 33, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Yadā rahitam ātmānaṁ bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam guṇa-āśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānam bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati. Ladies, yadā rahitam ātmānaṁ bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ svārājyam ṛcchati yadā rahitam ātmānaṁ bhūtendriya-guṇāśayaiḥ svarūpeṇa mayopetaṁ paśyan svārājyam ṛcchati. Anyone else? Yadā, when, rahitam, freed from, ātmānaṁ, self, bhūta, material elements, indriya, material senses, guṇa-āśayaiḥ, under the influence of the material modes of nature. Svarūpeṇa, in pure existence. Mayā, by me. Upetam, approaching. Paśyan, by seeing. Svārājyam, spiritual kingdom. Ṛcchati, enjoy. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Please repeat. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. In the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu, it is said that the person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the svarūpa, or real form of the living entity. Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta also confirms this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayāvāda school shudders at the thought of a service attitude in the living entity, and not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. Even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses. Under the dictation of the material modes, Factually, no one is master here in the material world, and therefore the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, The servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is swarat, or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent, or swarat, in the spiritual atmosphere, because there is no forced service. Therefore, the transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother unto the son, the friend's service unto the friend, or the wife's service unto the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced, but they are due only to love. Here in this material world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service, or service in svarūpa, is present in the transcendental world in association with the Lord. The very same service in transcendental love can be practiced by devotion here. This verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contamination, namely the gross and subtle bodies, together with the senses of the material modes of nature, is placed in the Supreme, and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and the devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotees develop further spiritual advancement in loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on, up to the point of madhurya ras, or transcendental loving service, reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. Om Ajnana Timidandasya Yana Gyana Sarakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangur Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tanaham Bande Shri Guru Ninatarinam. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada here, his purport is focusing on the impersonalists who try to reject material desires, material senses, and somehow or other try to simply attain some sort of Brahman realization. Yene Ravindaksha Vimukti Maninas Tuiyashtabhavat Avishuddha Buddhaya. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikar Maharaj that Avishuddha Buddhaya, that your intelligence is contaminated with this idea that somehow or other you can merge into the Brahma Jyoti, you can merge into an impersonal state, kind of a big homogeneous state of Jyoti, and lose your identity. That I am not part and parcel of Krishna, Mamayvamso Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhūta Sanatana. I am not part and parcel of any God, because I am God. So, Moga Shamoga, how's it go? Moga Shamoga, Kamana, Moga Cheta, Rakshashim Asurim Chaiva, Prakritim Shutaham. Moga Jnana Vichestisaha. So, Moga Jnana Vichestisaha. They're bewildered by Lord Krishna's external energy. Ma name prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam na bijanati mame bhya paramavayam. Krishna is telling Arjuna that no one, I don't reveal myself to any foolish person who first of all thinks that God is not a person and that Krishna is some kind of, just a mundane personality. Like, there is one fellow in the West, his name is Krishna Das, and he goes around chanting Hare Krishna all over the place. And some devotees were trying to make friends with him, some sannyasis, some GBC gurus. And he said, I don't think that the absolute truth is a little blue boy that runs around herding cows. Just like Ramachandra Puri, he was an impersonalist in his heart, although he took initiation from the great Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is one of the great acharyas in our disciplic succession. He's considered to be the root of the tree of Lord Chaitanya's. Lord Chaitanya, the tree of Lord Chaitanya, the Virat tree of Lord Chaitanya, it's described that Madhavendra Puri came from the spiritual world. He's a Kalpavriksha, tree in the spiritual world. And he is the root of the tree of Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. And only a few people could understand Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mood in Radharani's love for Krishna, Mahabhav, this love for Krishna where when Krishna leaves, abandons Radharani and the inhabitants of Vrindavan, she becomes suicidal. And she's lying on the ground, and Lalita is writing a note to Krishna. Radharani is unconscious. She is burning in the fire of separation from you. You have left her and abandoned her and gone to Mathura. He says, she's lying here. I will put a cotton swab to her nostrils, and if she's still breathing, I shall chastise her. So Lalita was very fiery, left-wing gopi. So the gopis, they're so in love with Krishna that when Akrura came to take Krishna away, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they ran to see the chariot. It was unbelievable. They couldn't believe what was going on. How can you take Krishna away from us? And Radharani, she didn't care. Her husband was there. Her elders were there. They were all looking. And Radharani was simply standing there like a tree, stunned. And she was staring at the chariot for hours and hours, not caring what her elders thought, because, of course, she's having a secret relationship with Krishna, and her husband's standing there. So these are the relationships, Madhurya Lila, Madhurya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras. These inhabitants of Vrindavan, they're the whole center of their life. Their life and soul is Krishna. And Krishna is saying, my dear gopis, you are the life of my very self. You're the life and soul of my very self. But Radharani, she is the very life of my own life. Like that, Krishna is also always hankering to be with Radharani. And when Purnamasi, one time she was standing with Vishaka and Lalita, and they were saying in the forest of Vrindavan, oh, the beautiful daughter of Vrishabhanu, she's coming to the forest. And Krishna was standing there. And Purnamasi said, yes, Radharani, Radhe, Radhe. And she was saying, Radhe, Radhe. And suddenly Krishna's hairs started standing up on end. So, Yene Ravindaksha Vimukti Manina Tviyashtavavat Avishuddha Buddhaya. Arura Krichena Param Padam Tata Patanti Ado Nadrita Yushmadangraya. If one does not taste the sweetness of the holy name of Krishna, the holy name of Krishna is full of sweetness. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purno Shuddho Nityo Mukta Vinadvan Namanamine. Name of Krishna, Krishna is absolute. Krishna is there and he's full of sweetness. Lord Chaitanya is describing to Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi He's saying the opulence and sweetness of Krishna. He's describing to Sanatana Goswami, who gave up everything. Chakvaturnamashesha mandalapati shrenim sada kuchavat. Sanatana Goswami was wealthy, so wealthy. He had so much gold. He was the great minister of the king of Bengal, the emperor of Bengal, Saddam Hussein. They rejected it all, simply hankering to meet Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Of course, Sangopangasya Parshadam Yagya, Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu is none other than God himself, who appeared right here in Sri Mayapur 530 plus years ago. So of course they were hankering to associate with Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the real treasure of life. Sanatana Goswami was sitting next to a touchstone, and one man came and said, give me something, give me some very valuable something, and I want your touchstone. Okay, take the touchstone, take it. Sama lostras makanchana. Devotee of the Lord, Krishna tells Arjuna, the devotee of the Lord sees equally a stone, sama lostrasma, a pebble, clay, a pebble, and kanchana, gold, all equally. Everything belongs to Krishna. Yomam pashyati sarvasya sarvam chamai pashyati. That Krishna, the devotee is seeing everything belonging and in Krishna. And therefore Krishna becomes purchased by the devotion and love of that devotee, Bhakta Vatsalya. Queen Kunti and the Pandavas, they themselves, they were always remembering Krishna, Vipada Shantuta Shashvat Tatartatra Jagat Guru. And the Pandavas were being punished in so many ways. Can you imagine the goddess of fortune, Draupadi, being defamed and insulted in the assembly of these great Maharatis? Bhishma was there, Drona was there, and they're all just sitting there, you know, because Duryodhana was the crown prince. And they tried to disrobe her in the presence of all these men. And then they lost her to the gambling match, the cheating going on by Shakuni. And they lost their kingdom. And Krishna is saying, don't worry, I have a plan. Krishna is standing on the battlefield showing Arjuna his Virat Rup. And he says, time I am, the destroyer of the world. I have come to engage all these men, except for you, the Pandavas. All the warriors on this battlefield are already destroyed by me. Kalos me. Time I am, destroyer of the world. So God, everyone, whether they know it or not, are following the hand of Krishna. They're following his will. So the last snare of Maya is this Sharirakya, this commentary by Shankaracharya, who is actually Lord Shiva. He comes to drive the Buddhists and the Sunyavadis out of India and reestablish, at least reestablish the authenticity of the Vedas. And so he introduces the soul as being immortal and the real identity, but he stays away from the Srimad Bhagavat Purana, which starts to focus and bring us from the first canto all the way into the 10th canto, which is the eternal loving pastimes of the Lord with his devotees. So, Aru Krichena Parampadam Tata Patanti Ado Nadrita Yushmarangraya, that they think that they've attained the highest thing in life. They've attained the highest platform of self-realization, Brahman realization. And Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, Aru Krichena Parampadam Tata, that they fall again back into the material world and start opening up hospitals. Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. Serving man is serving God. And they twist the philosophy. They do it. Chala Dharma. word jugglery. The Avadhuta tells Prahlad Maharaj there's 5 types of irreligion: Vidharma, Paradharma, Adharma, Pradano Nisha, Shabdabich Chala, Paradharma na Chodita, Upadharma tu Pakando, Dambhava Shabdabich Chala. So the Avadhuta is lying there in the forest, and he's quite chubby. And Prahlad said, why are you lying here? And the Avadhuta, he's saying, I've renounced life. I've taken up renunciation. I'm just lying here. If something comes my way, I accept it. If nothing comes, he says, Daninam, Pashyami Daninam Klesham, Lubdanam Ajitātmanaṁ, Bhaya Alabda Nidranam. It means that I see that people are always pursuing material things. Pashyami Daninam Klesham. They're after dan, wealth, Daninam. And all they experience is klesham, misery. Lubdanam Ajitātmanaṁ. Their minds are always agitated by greed. Lubdanam. Oh, give me this, I want more. I have $1 million, I want 10 million. Then I want 1 billion. They're never satisfied. Never, the senses are never satisfied. Maya alabda nidranam. They don't even sleep properly at night because they're so absorbed in the Bali concept of life. And then they become so frustrated that they go and search after a Swami. And the Swami says, yes, my name is Bhogananda Swami. You simply give me some bakshish, I'll give you moksha, no problem. And Jared Bhatta tells Maharaj Rahugana, just like a man who's so frustrated and he sees what looks like a lake and he jumps off a cliff and the lake is nothing but hard rock and he breaks his bones on the rock. So Jadabharta also compares that to someone, they're trying to take shelter of a Swami, a pseudo-yogi, pseudo-incarnation of God, Sai Baba, whoever. So many gods coming from India to the West. Yes, you can be God, I'm God, everything's good. So Aru Krichena Param Padam Tata Patanti Adro Najrita Yushmadangaya. They have no taste for the beauty of Lord Krishna. Krishna is so beautiful that the inhabitants of Vrindavan, Narada Muni says, they're so stunned. Narada Muni himself, when he was chanting the names of Krishna, he started stretching and he broke his Brahmin thread. Rupa Goswami says this in the Nectar of Devotion. Radharani, sometimes she's churning butter and she's glorifying Krishna and she gets lost in glorifying Krishna, and then suddenly she becomes fearful. What if my elders see me? What if Jatila, my mother-in-law, catches me glorifying my beloved Krishna? Like that. So this is, of course, Krishna's Leela, showing the infinitely, immensely inconceivable relationship of love for Krishna that the devotees are experiencing in Vrindavan. So Sanatana Goswami meets Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu in Varanasi. He escapes from the jail. The jail keeper is given 10,000 gold coins, and Ishan, who was a servant in the house of Sachimata, helps him get across the hills and the jungles and the rivers. He almost gets killed. One of the hotel keepers had an astrologer, a palm reader, said, this man has 8 gold coins. So Sanatana Goswami, of course, very intelligent, and he knows all about diplomacy. Why is this person being so nice to me? Too much devotion is a sign of a thief. It's a Bengali saying. Thank you. Ati Bhakti. Chore Laga. Too much devotion is a sign of a thief. Sanatana Goswami, he's been dealing as a minister. He knows all this stuff. Politics, and bribes and all this. So, listen, I have some gold coins. Take them. So Ishan gives him gold coins, but he keeps one. And the innkeeper feels, oh, thank you. I was going to take your life, but thank you for saving me from the bad karma. Nothing personal. I just need the gold coins. It's not personal. Take your life. So then he comes to Varanasi and he's dressed as a Muslim. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu tells Chandrasekhar, he's at the house of Chandrasekhar, outside is a great saint. Bring him in, bring him in. Chandrasekhar looks outside. Sanatan Goswami's got a beard. He's got these Muslim clothes on. No, it's just a Muslim outside. He says, no. He is a great saint. So then Chandrasekhar and Tapa Mishra give him nice clothing and a very opulent blanket. Because Lord Chaitanya is so much in love with Sanatan that when Sanatan comes into the room, Lord Chaitanya embraces him and they both start crying in ecstasy. Sanatan Goswami is a manjari. He's Lavanga Manjari in the spiritual world. He's assisting Radharani. In the morning, when Radharani comes from the forest of Vrindavan after having dancing with Krishna, she goes to her house, her husband's house, Abhimanyu's house. And on the north side of the house, Vrishabhanu Maharaj has built a nice palatial edifice for Radharani to live in. It's made of beautiful emeralds and diamonds and lapis lazuli and beautiful stonework and beautiful gold inlay work. So Radharani goes there, and Rupa Manjari, who is Rupa Goswami, and Lavanga Manjari, who is Sanatan Goswami, they all bring her, and they're wearing Radharani's discarded clothing even, and the garland she wears, and they have to prepare her for the day. And Radharani's grandmother comes running. Radharani, where have you been? What's going on? Radharani's lying on the bed going, what do you mean? What do you mean? I've been sleeping. And Mukara, she notices that Radharani is wearing a golden cloth across her chest. That's Krishna's cloth. You went away with, you wear a blue cloth. Radharani loves to wear blue. So this way, but Mukara is very protective of Radharani, so she doesn't say anything. Anyway, the Manjaris are bathing Radharani. They're selecting beautiful jewelry for Radharani and ornaments. This is going on eternally in the spiritual world and even in one of our universes here in the material world. We're in one tiny universe, and Krishna's roadshow is going from one universe to the next constant. Nitya Lila, Pravishtom. And so many different types of personalities who are devotees of the Lord, like the sages of Danda Karanya. Oh, please let us take birth as gopis in your Leela. Where are you going next? Yes, come on. Some wives of demigods also take form of gopis, like this. All of Lord Balaram's cowherd boyfriends, they all come. Some of them are sages, some are from the spiritual world. A huge thing is going on. There's millions of cows and millions of cowherd boys in Krishna's Leelas, and millions of gopis. It's described by one great acharya that Radharani has a chariot, and the chariot is 100,000 yojanas high and 10,000 yojanas long. It has thousands of wheels on it, and it travels at the speed of the mind. And Krishna was having some pastimes with a young gopi called Viraja. And Radharani, what had happened was she was with Krishna, and then she became so stunned that she fell unconscious. So Krishna ran away to associate with Viraja. These are all pastimes. So you can imagine, Radharani entered this chariot, which has thousands of rooms, all decorated. And she was accompanied by her sakis. How many sakis? 600 million sakis accompanied with her. So these things are inconceivable. And Lord Chaitanya is instructing these things to Sanatana Goswami. He's telling about the opulence of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, the excellent, amazing beauty of Krishna. So, the poor Mayāvādis, Prabhupada is trying to encourage, don't be a Mayāvādi. This is a foolish philosophy. Like one person put their hand up, one hippie guy, and when Prabhupada was opening the temple in San Francisco, Swamiji, I'm God. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, Jai, please accept my humble obeisances. Now you can leave. Prabhupada, Krishna brought him into the most chaotic, degraded situation, and somehow he transformed these hippie kids, I was one of them, into devotees, and people were amazed. All the religious scholars came to meet Prabhupada, like, how did you do this? He turned a Mukhi into a Suki, into a Suchi, Muchi into a Suchi. How did you do it? So this is the power. Kalikalir Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tara Pravartana. In Kali Yuga, of course, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannath are very, very favorable to the most fallen. So Prabhupada was preaching in India, but people are not so fallen. They have some piety, they have religion. So Krishna, okay, go to New York. You'll find some really fallen souls there. Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar Mosamo Patita Prabhu Napaibe Ara. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu said, okay, here, Swami, Prabhupada, go to the most fallen, degraded place in the world, New York, the Bowery in New York. People, Prabhupada step over drunken people lying on the sidewalk and so many things. So Krishna tells Arjuna, Maya vesha manoye mam niti yukta upasate shraddhavan parayopetas teme yuktatamo mataha. This is in the 12th chapter, where Arjuna says, which is better, the path of Advaitism or the path of dualism, Dvaitism? Which is better? And Krishna tells him this verse, Maya vesha manoye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhavan parayopetas teme yuktatamo mataha. Yuktatamo, the highest transcendentalist, is one who puts his mind on me. Maya avesha mano yemam nitya yukta upasate, who is always thinking of me, who is always enthusiastic to please me, to please Krishna, regardless. Tatenu kampam shishamikshmano bhujane vatma. Even if you're in, like Prahlad, your father's trying to kill you. So many ways. I got to kill this person. I have to take him out, you know. His own father is trying to kill him. And he doesn't mind. He's just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And gets thrown off a cliff. Krishna catches him, puts him under an elephant to squish him, kill him. The elephant goes, picks him up, puts him on. Prahlad offers poisonous food to Lord Krishna and starts eating. What's going on? Where'd you get your power from? I hate Vishnu. So nowadays, the entire world is contaminated, overrun with demons, little demons. Not Hiranyakashipu, big demon. You know, he heated up the entire universe to a point where Lord Brahma, creator of the universe, had to come and say, okay, cool down, you know. Stop. What do you want? Then he tried to make himself immortal. Not during the day, not during the night, not by anything living, not by anything dead, not by any creature, not by any demigod, not, you know, not inside, not outside. Krishna is at least a little bit more intelligent than you are. A little. Just a tiny bit, you know. Foolish. Demoniac civilization. Asatyam apratishtam te jagadahur anishvaram. Life is temporary. Simply just enjoy your senses. But here, Prabhupada's warning that sense pleasure is just destructive. Vishyendriya-samyogad yattad karma yattad agre mitopamam pariname vishameva tatsukam rajasam smritam. Krishna tells Arjuna that that pleasure, which is based on the senses in connection with the sense objects, which in the beginning, amrita, tastes like nectar, somaras, but in the end becomes like poison, drinking poison. That pleasure is in the mode of passion, tatsukam rajasam smritam. And it degrades the living entity. It degrades them. And the whole world is covered by this, even Calcutta. Even in India, people, mode of passion. Nunam pramatak kodite vikarma yad indriya pritya. They simply want to enjoy the senses. They're mad after sense pleasure. You know, they're imitating the West. And Sanatana Goswami was told by Lord Chaitanya, your father is very wealthy, and he's left you a treasure underneath the house. You have to dig, but don't dig on the south side. If you dig on the south side, you'll be bitten by wasps, and you know, those wasps. If you dig on the west side, you'll be attacked by ghosts. And if you dig on the north side, a very poisonous snake will come and devour you. You have to dig on the east side. So, Prabhupada describes there that karma kanda, just like Maharaj Prachina Barishat, he's a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. So when he was doing all these animal sacrifices and animals were dying, Narada Muni came and intervened. He said, Maharaj Prachina Barishat, all these animals, and he manifested the animals in the sky. All these animals where your experiment failed, they didn't chant the mantras properly, they have to come back and kill you, punish you. So he said, give up this karma kanda. So karma kanda is simply entanglement. Moha jala, like fish in the net. Krishna said, chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashritaha patanti narkesu cha etiva. He said, they're entangled in this network of illusion, mohajala. Mohajala samavrita, like a network of fish in a net, fisherman's net, Maya's net, like this. So he told Prachina Barishat, no, there's a person called Maharaj Puranjana. So he had to give a kind of a metaphor, analogy, that Maharaj Puranjana found the city of 9 gates, eyes, nose, ears, like this, the city of 9 gates. And he's in the middle of the city is a garden full of flowers. That's your heart. The heart is full of desire, material desires. So, and you're trying to smell and enjoy this garden, but you're simply increasing your misery. That is the message here. So this sense gratification, of course, we don't reject. Gauranga Mahaprabhu has empowered Rupa Goswami and instructed him also in Varanasi. And he told Rupa Goswami that positive, you see use everything in the service of Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, right? Yat jahosi dadasi, yeah. So he warns, Rupa Goswami warns, and prakanchya buddha harisambani vasuni mumukshri parigya go yagi falgu vairagyam uchite. False rejection of Krishna's property. Now, I don't want to accept a proprietor. I don't want to accept God. I just reject everything and practice big tapasya, big austerities. So this is the ghosts. On the west side of the house, the ghosts will haunt you, the ghosts of Mayāvāda philosophy. Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu said that this Mayāvāda shunile prakasha, he said this Mayāvāda philosophy is worse than the fruitive workers, the karma kandis. It's worse because they're insulting God, Krishna. You don't have any arms or legs or eyes or ears. You're just nothing. It's such an offense. It's like Ramachandra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was crying for Krishna close to his death, and he was saying, "Oh, my Lord of Mathura, when will I attain you?" He was in the mood of separation that Radharani felt. And Ramachandra Puri came and said, "Don't you know Bhagavad Gita? Brahma bhūta prashanatma na sochati na kaṅchati. Why are you lamenting? What's wrong with you?" Madhavendra Puri said, "Get out of my sight, or I'll never attain the lotus feet of Krishna." He chastised him. So that is the danger also of devotees. We have to be very careful in our dealings with the spiritual master and understand that dealings with Vaishnavas and the spiritual master, we have to know that Krishna has a hand in everything we do. So Madhavendra Puri's disciple, Ishvara Puri, was a great devotee of his guru. He would take care of Madhavendra Puri when he was an invalid, clean him up and everything, and dress him, everything. And therefore, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, God himself, said, "Please, Ishvara Puri, I want to be your disciple." And he took Diksha. God takes Diksha from his pure devotee, like that, like Arjuna, Partsarthi, Krishna becomes Partsarthi. So these are the relationships between Krishna and his devotees. This is how it works. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti, tells Arjuna, "You're my friend and my devotee as well." So, daivim prakritim ashritaha, ashrita. He's giving shelter to his devotees. Mahatmanastu mamparta daivim prakritim ashritaha, badanyamanin manaso. So, we have to pray for these Mayāvādis. And then the north side of the house, the great poisonous snake will devour you. People want to get yogic cities. They want to become very powerful yogis and control others and get all these cities, this mystic yoga. And they think, "I'm going to merge with Paramatma." They're meditating on Paramatma, and then, "Oh, I'm going to merge with the Paramatma." No. No, you're part and parcel of the Lord. Mamayāvāda so jiva loke, jiva bhūta sanatana, manasastan indriyani, prakritistani karshati. So, Krishna is trying to deliver, and it's very, very rare to come to the platform of devotion, pure devotion. Very rare. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it, Prahlad Maharaj says it. Very, very rare to get this human form of life, and then so much rarer to come and meet a great devotee of the Lord who can deliver us back to the spiritual world. So we have to really take shelter of the instructions of the Lord and always keep our mind and senses under control. Beat the mind with shoes in the morning and beat the mind with broomstick at night. And be very strict in our sadhana, strict in our chanting of the holy names. And don't be distracted by atyahara prayashascha prajalpaniyamagraha janasangas chaloliam cha sadvir bhakti panashiti. Overeating, over-collecting, talking nonsense, you know, all this stuff. Niyamagraha, neglecting the rules and regulations, or following the rules and regulations, and then not feeling advancement because I'm so strict that I'm chastising all devotees. Look at this devotee. He doesn't, I'm stricter. Look at him. He's eating fruit and nuts on Ekadasi. Look at me, I'm doing nirjal. Like that. So sometimes people become so austere, like Durvas Muni, that they commit offenses to their fellow Vaishnavas. They become angry, like Durvas Muni, chastising Ambarish Maharaj. And he got a little bit of trouble there. What's the name of that demon that attacked him? I forgot the name. The big demon chased, Sudarshan Chakra. Durvasa created a demon, and then the chakra killed, and then he chased Durvasa all throughout the planetary systems, all the way to Narayan, Lord Narayan and Vaikuntha. I can't help you. You have to go and touch the feet with your head of the Vaishnava who you offended. So this is the message coming from Sukadeva Goswami. So it's a couple of minutes for question or comments.
In the early 80s, I asked Satrupma a question. It was at the end of a Bhagavatam class, and I asked, you just quoted Atyahara Prayashastra Prajopa Niyamagraha. When is Prayas? When is prayas applicable to devotees, that are full-time serving? Atyahara Prayashastra Prajopa Niyamagraha. When is prayasha applicable to devotees? They're just full-time serving and have given their lives to pushing on the movement. And his response was, if we have so much service that we don't follow the morning program, if we neglect our sadhana, then it's prayasha. Over-endeavoring for mundane things. Is that mundane? Somehow or other, it has that same impact. It has the same impact as if we're endeavoring for mundane things. And I've seen numerous devotees that seem to be really powerful devotees fall down because of this form of prayasha. It was a common affair, like way back in the 80s. Very senior devotees just have enormous challenges with their spiritual lives because they did so much service, but they neglected the foundation for those services.
Purity is a force. This is extremely dangerous. That I'm doing such important service, and I'm at the top of the pyramid. I'm very important. Dambo Darpa, Bhimanascha. These are qualities of the demon. Pride, false ego. Then there's Pratishta, false pride, sense of superiority over other Vaishnavas. So we've seen the history that is very dangerous. And it seems even more dangerous to be a leader. And Prabhupada invested authority in so many leaders, and they started to neglect their morning sadhana, neglect the quality of their spiritual life. And they simply got overwhelmed by management controlling others and being external in a sense. Look at how many results I've gotten. My zone is the most successful zone. Look at all the numbers. Hello. Srila Prabhupada once said, the devotee asked him, what pleases you the most? And every time I saw Prabhupada, which was 5 or 6 times in Bhagavatam class, so he'd come and give Gita class in Los Angeles for a week or 2. Every day he was saying, distribute books, preach. And this devotee put up his hand because he was a big book distributor. Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? Tell me. I said, your love for Krishna is what pleases me the most. You have to remember the goal is to love God. I'm giving love of God. Do you want love of God? Or do you want power and prestige for a couple of years, and then hubris, and then nemesis? Pride before the fall. So we have to pray for anyone who is neglecting their sadhana, neglecting their spiritual life, their devotional adherence, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, all the 9 processes. Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam, surrender fully to Krishna. Give your heart to Krishna. You have to do these things. This is the priority. This is the foundation of your daily life. Yeah, you can go out and distribute millions of books and build temples and all this. and then maybe you have your devotional creeper is being depleted by all these weeds. You're watering the weeds, right? Sanatan Gauranga Mahaprabhu tells Rupa Goswami in Madhya Lila, you're watering the weeds. Pratishta, Jiva Hinsa, Puja, Kutinati. All these weeds are coming up. Fault finding, desire for power and superiority, and manipulating devotees, exploiting devotees, abusing devotees, because you have the power. Radharani, she's watching. She's watching, and, aparad, Apa Radharani. So these weeds, Prabhupada quotes Bhaktisiddhanta, don't water those weeds. They'll choke your devotional creeper, and then nakatika topi. Your whereabouts will be unknown. And that is the history of ISKCON.
Bir Krishna Maharaj, before the database was released to the public, he did research on all these letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote to the GBCs, and he said, your most important responsibility is to make sure that everyone in your temples attends the full morning program.
Including them, or they can just...
Well, of course. There's another really good purport. I discovered it, and then I was wondering, where did I put it? I sent it to a couple devotees, but it was that if a leader doesn't attend the morning program, the followers, the people that he's leading, will also not do that. And this leader will have serious difficulties. Mm-hmm. And that was a prediction of what took place with so many. And one last point that came to my mind. What was it? Oh, Krishna. This was Sravas in Los Angeles. He was a book distributor in Los Angeles. And in 75 in Atlanta, maybe you went, all of the book distributors in North America converged in the Atlanta temple to get Srila Prabhupada's darshan. And they were expecting the magic formula to increase book distribution. And Savas Prabhu, he's the longest tenured temple president in ISKCON's history. Amazing. The BBT trustee, too. And Savas raised his hand, said, Srila Prabhupada, how can we increase our desire to distribute your books? And then Prabhupada went into a prolonged meditative silence, looked up at the ceiling. And then he said, if you really want to increase book distribution, he said it 3 times, if you really want to increase book distribution, you will chant all of your rounds without stopping.
Without?
Stopping. So in other words, it's the highest priority. You do that, but in order to do that, you got to be supported with a full morning program. It's not that you can just skip that and get away with it, because it doesn't work. That's been proven. We have how many years of testimony, evidence, that supports that?
A lot, almost 60.
Yeah.
Very important. Krishna does not tolerate this egotism, the arrogance, not even with the gopis. We know that they thought, look, we're so special. Radharani, she went in the forest, and Krishna followed her, and then she's thinking, look at that. I'm so special. And Krishna said, you climb on my back, and I'll carry you. And then as soon as she tried to climb on the back, Krishna disappeared. Hiding from the gopis. It's in the 10th canto. Gopis are searching for Krishna. Why did he leave them? Prabhupada says.
Pride.
You got puffed up. You're gopis, but you got a little, little arrogant about, I'm special devotee. No, it's very dangerous. Therefore, trinata pisunechana turore vasahishnuna amani namanadena kirtaniya sadahari. That we always have Prabhupada, one time, I think it was Los Angeles, and he's looking at all the devotees, there was some temple presence there, and he was just crying. He said, please be humble. Please be humble. Because many, many devotees, they get some power, and they start abusing it. And Prabhupada's saying, please be humble. The history is there. So, We have to follow in the footsteps of the humble Goswamis of Vrindavan. They're so humble. And their Uddhava is praying to be a clump of grass in Vrindavan so the inhabitants could step on him. That should be the mentality. That way we will be safe.
Servant leader, to put it in modern parlance.
Thank you. That's a very important point. Sometimes we equate leadership with spiritual advancement. But the leader who feels that he's a servant, the humble servant of all the Vaishnavas, that is the real leader. That is the real leadership. Otherwise, you can be a leader for a few minutes, maybe a few seconds by Lord Brahma's timing, a couple of moments, you know. And you think, oh, I'm a leader for 10 years. No. Life is short, and we want to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. We want to get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We don't want to disqualify ourselves from getting that mercy. The only way we can get mercy is heartfelt humility, heartfelt tolerance. And that means strict morning program.
Also, the devotees will feel the love of a servant leader if he's actually in that mode. And that will be the highest level of motivation. This devotee really cares about me. He loves me.
Everyone, wherever Prabhupada came, we were like bees, like bumblebees on the lotus flower. We just like, more Prabhupada, more. We want more of Prabhupada's mercy. He's so much love for Krishna. You could feel it. And he's so humble. He would stand in line in 22nd Avenue to go to the bathroom behind all these young aspirants, you know. They didn't understand and finally said, oh, wait a minute. What should we call you, Swami? And how should we respect you? He said, I am the representative. You should accept me as good as God. So, let us pray for each other, for all the Vaishnavas. Let's pray for those devotees who may be struggling in their life in different ways, struggling from not coming to the morning program, struggling from arrogance and false prestige. Let us pray for them. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.